I was told to do this program. It was completely different than anything we'd ever done. And Spirit said, I want you to do this because people need to see how I move in people's lives. And I was told specifically who to ask to share a portion of their story: David, Jason, and Kristen. And I knew them all well enough to know that they would be fine sharing, and Spirit told me the aspect of their lives that was to be shared today. So David's going to start us off this morning. And again, this is a sharing, this isn't David's totality, it's a sharing of his experience in the world and how God was with him, as God's with us all. So I hope that, we don't have modern day parables, but sometimes we can learn just by listening about the experiences of another. So are you ready?
Yes.
All right, so let's open our hearts, and we want to welcome David Food.
Alright, so I keep telling myself, this is my story, why is it so jumbled? It'll be what it is, right? So, I think, kind of before I get started, like she said, it's not totality of who I am, it's not done, the story's not over. It's just kind of a brief history of maybe a dream I thought I wanted, and just kind of the process in order to achieving something that really is going to fulfill what I'm right now supposed to be doing, and kind of just the way it came about in unforeseen ways, totally unforeseen ways. So it has a lot to do, I'm a young man, has a lot to do with trying to find work, right? A career, a path, how am I going to work? How am I going to take my light into the world, make money, all that kind of stuff. So we'll get started. High school. In high school, my junior year, I was forced, encouraged, whatever you want to say, to get a job for the summer. So the first place I did, me and a buddy went and interviewed at Walmart to work in the automotive. I wanted to work in automotive. I knew I wanted to do something hands-on, right? I thought, you guys know me now, I'm hands-on, but I thought it was cars right off the bat. So I was like, let me go get in here and do some oil changes and figure out how to do this kind of stuff. So we sit down, we interviewed as a group. I mean, we're high schoolers, they didn't care. They were hiring probably 50 people for that summer. So they're like, yeah, we'll hire you, we'll start you off. And I made it clear to them, like, hey, I want a 9-to-5 job full-time for the summer. I'll work as much as you want to work me, but I don't want to work nights, and I don't want to work weekends. Yeah, no problem. First day I roll in. Well, 2 problems. You gotta be 18 to work in the automotive thing. I'm already hired at this point, thinking I'm gonna work in the automotive. So I wasn't 18 yet, so they stuck me in garden. Second problem is, I go in there and I go to my training, so they sit me down all day. I'm on a computer, how to work at Walmart, how to do everything, right? And the next day I go in and I get my schedule, and it's part-time, and it's 4 to 10. Every day, 4 to 10, like the exact opposite of what I wanted. So at the end of my training day, I got my schedule, and I looked at the lady, I'm like, this wasn't what I talked about, this wasn't what we agreed on when I interviewed, and I got soccer tryouts next week from 5 to 7 every single night, and this is a big deal to me. Like, it's my last year to play club ball, I want to make a good team. She's like, there's nothing I do, and I said, well, I can't work here anymore. So I literally worked at Walmart for 6 hours. No, I don't know, the decision was probably just a brash. I didn't ask them for permission, I just, maybe just cocky teenager, but it didn't work for me. So I quit, I walked out, I wasn't mad, I was just like, well, I guess I gotta find another job. So at that point, this barn over here was under construction. Now it's a nice barn. Some of you guys have been around, you know what it used to look like. It was just old, it was tired, it wasn't bad or nasty. So what they were doing, the owners of the barn were refurbishing so they could make it like this, like nice horse stables and everything. So the very next day I got on my polo, my jeans. You know, I'm in high school, so I'm not super sharp, but I think I look good. And I start going around hitting everywhere, and at the end of the day I come over here, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go over there and see what happens. So I go over there and I'm like, hey, you guys looking for any work? Anybody that needs, you need some help? Yeah, man. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, there's your shovel over there. So I literally, in my nice clothes, grabbed this guy's shovel and worked 8 hours, or the rest of the day. It was kind of towards the end of the afternoon. So the rest of the day, and I worked all summer there. And I loved it. And I disliked it. But for two different reasons. I loved it because it was easy. The work was fun. It's outside. It was hands-on. It's what I wanted. The guys were a little goofy. And as the low man on the totem pole, you got to do the goofy, crazy stuff you don't want to do. So, anyway, that was my first job, and I worked there for 3 months, and I made the most money out of all my friends, because construction pays more than working part-time. Full-time construction, even if you're making $7, $8 an hour, pays more than working part-time Walmart. So, and they weren't taxing me. So that was great. It was a great summer. I enjoyed it. So I go back to school and blah, blah, blah. The next summer, what do? At this point, I'm in. So Gary, some of you guys know Gary, he used to come here a lot, and he had his own construction business. So I worked with him for that summer. So I got in this thing of being comfortable working in construction. So at this point in high school, I decided I wanted to be a teacher, right? So my goal became becoming a teacher. And so I don't know why I decided that. I think it was an easy decision. I didn't wrestle with it. I didn't think of anything else. I knew I could work construction to make money, but I wanted to be a teacher. So I went to college, went to Georgia Southern. And there, I went down, graduated high school, went to Georgia Southern, and I think my goal changed. My dream was still to be a teacher, but my goal was different. My grandma always said about my dad, he went to, I think it was one of like small colleges in DeKalb. I forgot what the school was called, but she goes, he went to college and majored in drinking beer and air guitar. So I think I followed in his footsteps. So quickly, I was there for 3 semesters, a year and a half, and I was quickly encouraged to come back home because certain people didn't want to pay for me to drink beer and play air guitar. So I came back home, and what did I do? I got a job, right? So where did I work? I worked in construction. I got a job, Joe Colbelli. He was working for a remodeling company, and I got a job with him through that company. So I worked construction, and I loved it. I liked it. And I went through a weird phase. Am I going to go back to school, blah, blah. So I committed to going back to school at that point. And I went to Kennesaw State. And so I went to Kennesaw State, and I worked construction for that company for probably the next 3 years. And I went to school part-time and kind of worked part-time. Went to school 2 days a week, worked 3 to 4 days a week. That type of deal. And I always say, when people ask me, about Georgia Southern and whatever, I could have stayed there if I tried, but I didn't. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I learned a lot more. I went to 2 schools at the same time. I went to the school of construction, I went to the school of trying to be a teacher. So anyway, I'm going through all my college. So, at this point, I'm getting comfortable in construction. I'm accepted. I'm in the club. I'm not the guy that knows everything. I'm not the guy to go ask about the master level stuff. But they know they can count on me to put in days' work, do what they say, smile on my face, no questions asked. So I'm in the club at this point. So I go to Kennesaw. I go through all my schools. It takes me a while. Spoiler alert, I end up taking 7 years to graduate. Reminds me of Tommy Boy. You guys ever seen that movie? They call them doctors. But anyway, at the end of my program at Kennesaw State, to become a teacher, you have to student teach, which is you have to teach in a classroom setting. You go to the school every day, 8 hours a day. It's like your job, right? And then you do projects for your professors at home, at the school. And once every 3 weeks, maybe once a month, I forgot what the schedule was, your professors come and watch you teach to grade you. And this is the whole thing. And the student teaching portion is the whole last semester of your college. So I went in I went into that and I started. My first one I had was at a school around here. And so I went in and I'm ready. Let's do this. I'm excited. I'm ready. Let's go. So I go in. And I mean, looking back on it, maybe it might have been the worst match ever in the history of man. But I get a teacher that is looking for somebody that is 1,000% prepared to take over her class, like day one. So day one, I'm up there. I didn't even, it's my first day student teaching. I'm not prepped or anything like that. I get up there. I do okay because I'm flexible. She doesn't like me, man. She just doesn't. She doesn't, and it's like, we didn't go together. It was, it wasn't working quickly. I could tell that it wasn't working. So the next day I come in, and I'm like, all right, at this point, drill sergeant style, I'm scared of her. She basically holds my future, so I'm like, I'm coming in hot, and I'm going to be awesome. Second day, I came in hot, I was awesome. And it was like a Friday, so she tells me, she's like, much better, thank you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. So I think Monday was off. Monday was like a holiday or something when we started, so I came in Tuesday. By second period, my college professor shows up. I'm like, why is he here? He's not scheduled to be here, nothing. Why is he coming in? Hey, David, come to the back room with me. So she fired me. Long story short, the teacher of the class asked asked Kennesaw State to take me out of the class. Whatever her reasons were, it doesn't matter. It happened. Could I have done a lot better? Probably. Dang, I was only there 2 days. Give me a chance. You know what I'm saying? So this is a quick turnaround, and it was like, it was hard. It was hurt. I mean, it hurt. It was like, I'm not in the club for sure. Like it's. They don't want me. So like, anyway, tough day. I go back to my Kennesaw State because I'm thinking, holy crap, I just screwed up my whole 6.5 years of trying. They're gonna kick me out of school, right? So I'm like, holy crap, man. My professor's like, dude, what's the deal? He's like, he's confused. They like me. Obviously, I'm not a standard candidate in teaching. All of my teaching classes, I stood out as different in probably negative fashion from the teachers. Because I wasn't clip art and stuff on the paper. Like, I could do it. That wasn't my go-to. That wasn't what made me stand out as a teacher. What made me stand out as a teacher was teaching, was being flexible. Being able to work with people, being able to really connect one-on-one by being genuine and honest. Those are my tools, my go-to tools. So those tools don't stand out until you're until you're actually teaching, right? I make it through. I get my B's on the clip art and the reports and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I never felt like I was a part of the club. I was never accepted. Even in school, like Kennesaw State. I was in the corner, They're always like, David, we don't know what your deal is. Stuff like that. So, anyway, so we get there. I get student teaching. I go in. I beg for forgiveness. I'm like, oh my God, please, 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 please. So they're like, my professor's like, I like you. We're going to do an independent study, and it's basically going to be a chance for you to prove that you want this and prove that you want to do this. So their independent study was for me to go to another high school that same semester, thank God, for like 4 weeks. It was real short. It was going to give me like 1 credit. It wasn't anything that I needed to do to graduate, but I needed to do it to get back in the program. So I go to another high school, Cartersville High School, and it was awesome. First day I walk in there, completely different vibe, completely different teacher, completely different everything. The school was awesome. My little time there was awesome. The kids were awesome. I love that school. So I in turn went back to my Kennesaw State teacher and said, hey, what's the deal? Number one, am I student teaching? I'm back in. Number two, can I go to this Cartersville back? So it ends up, I ended up student teaching in Cartersville. I loved every second of it. It was awesome. It was a great experience. It was super rewarding. It really gave me that, pick me back up. You know, it really gave me that I can do this. People out here do like me. There are places where I am needed. Wasn't in her class, but there's a lot of places. So anyways, awesome. So I graduate. 2010 I graduate. Maybe one of the worst times to graduate, to try to be a teacher or to try to work construction in the middle of the economic downturn. So I'm trying to do both of those at the same time right when I graduate. So I come out, there's not a whole lot of job opportunities. They're out there, but they're quick. Like, they're getting picked up quick. A lot of teachers are getting them that are moving from school to school. You know, it's quick. So where did I go for money? I mean, I got a house at this point. I got bills. It's not an excuse, it's a reality. You know, like, I got to get some money somehow. So that's pretty much, I got enough expenses where I need a full-time job. So I started working construction again. And I never was mad about it, and I never got mad at construction, and I never had a bad day working it. I mean, I did, but it wasn't because, I'm not supposed to be here, let me throw this. It was like, why can't you fit? Cut it right, first time. So anyway, I start working, and I really, at this point, it's a lot of construction, and it's a lot of self-work, and that's another story for another day. But I became a little stagnant, and I lost touch with trying to become a teacher. I kind of lost touch with trying to do anything in construction except pay the bills. It was a wading in the water moment, and it probably lasted for 3 years, where I was just like, keep my head above water, just kind of living, making sure the bills are paid, even if they're late, who cares, just get them paid. So I did a lot of inner time. That gave me the time to do a lot of inside work and change and help do a lot of stuff with me. Because obviously, this is only one aspect of my life. But during this time, I started coaching at Weber High School. I got a job coaching. But you know what's the best part about it is? The stipulation for coaching was that we don't ever hire a coach that is a teacher or becomes a teacher, and we don't ever let a teacher coach. It was a private school. And so they kept everything completely separate. So I get this opportunity where I'm like, yeah, and it's just like, we're never going to hire you as a teacher. And it didn't matter, it wasn't because of me or not, but it's funny how that opportunity came. The opportunity came out of nowhere, from a source that I never ever would have thought would have even said anything about. I got something for you. And it was limited to not ever being a teacher. So I jumped on it, I took it, and thinking they changed their mind. They didn't. So anyway, that's kind of a side note, but I thought it was cool that was an opportunity that never would have led to teaching. So that was awesome. And the biggest thing with that, it really inspired me to change other stuff in my life that probably helped along the way of me realizing what I'm here to do or my dream, right? But still no teaching job, still working construction, still loving life for the most part. I'm getting out of my funk a little bit at this point. The Weber was really a helpful thing, and I got to teach. I just didn't teach school. I taught soccer, you know, and I inherited a team with like 12 players. You need 11 on the field. And then we got beat every game. And the next 2 years we made the playoffs. And I think they haven't missed the playoffs since I've left. So that's a little pride factor right there. So we did good. So anyway, moving right along. Shortly after, I'm at Weber. I was there 3 years, and I was working. It was it was an at-night thing. I was still working construction during the day. And at that point I was working for myself construction, and so it's starting to pick back up. The downturn's kind of going away. The economy's starting to pick back up, and I get a call from one of the soccer coaches at Cartersville, because when I was there student teaching, I coached. I was an assistant coach with one of them, and they let me do a lot more than I thought they would. I thought they'd stick me in a corner and say, yeah, put it on your resume. But they love me, so one of the coaches called me and said, hey man, there's a job opening, go for it. Like, put your application in. I've already told the principal about you. Like, he's doing legwork behind the scenes. And it was summertime, and I was like so pumped. So pumped. I was ready. I'd already botched an interview earlier in my career, like 4 years before or whatever. So I'm like, I'm not messing this up all weekend, the weekend before, every day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything, and I studied. I looked at every advice board on Google. I looked at every question they could potentially ask me. I had 50, 60 different answers that my professors at Kennesaw State would love to hear. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give them what they want to get in the door. You know what I'm saying? So I put in a lot of effort to it. I showed up. I nailed the interview. I did a great job. It's honest. I nailed it, man. And so I knew I was in there. I knew I was in the running. How could they not want me? And in the interview, I told them a couple times, I said, this job at Cartersville High School would be my dream job. This school would be my dream school. I would not want to, if you give me this opportunity, I'm not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? In my head, I'm buying houses in Cartersville. Where can I move? You know what I'm saying? In my head, I'm ready to go. I'm that committed. I love that school that much. So a couple days later, I get a phone call from the principal. And he's like, yeah, man, you did great, blah, blah. It's between you and somebody else. I'll give you a call tomorrow. So he calls me tomorrow, and I was excited that he called me. So he calls me up. He goes, yeah, we gave it to the other person. I'm like, okay. And he's like, but we really like you. And this sounded so weird, and I'm not making this up. He said, the biggest factor was you really, really, really wanted to teach here, and this was your dream job, but we felt she really wanted to teach more. Like, she could teach anywhere, and I just wanted to teach at Cartersville, is the view they got. So I didn't get the job at Cartersville. Luckily, move on. I was disappointed. It was bad. It wasn't as bad as the first one, but it was bad. It sucked. I thought it was awesome. I thought I had a great chance. So the next time, a couple weeks later, I got another opportunity. This is a hot summer for me. So I got another opportunity. Somebody called me up and said, hey, they're looking for a teacher. I tell the principal about you, come in and interview. So I come in and interview, and we go in. And again, I'm prepared. Like, it was quick enough from Cartersville, so I'm like, got a nice base. So I go back in, I study, maybe not 4 days in a row, but the day before for sure. And I go in, and I sit down, and I nail the interview. I'm like, man, I'm getting the hang of this. I'm ready. So at that point, I had a job with a company. I was doing my own thing, but they'd sub me out a lot, this other company. So I immediately after the interview, I had to turn around and go to Alabama to do some work for this guy. I had a job in Alabama, and then I had a job in North Carolina, and it would probably take me, I think it was 3 days was my commitment. Go to Alabama, drive to North Carolina, come home in a 3-day period. I was in Alabama doing my first job, on my way to North Carolina, and I got a call, and she says, and this was quick, like I interviewed on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and school was starting on Monday, so they're making a decision quick. So she called me as I'm in North Carolina. I was going there, and she's like, you got the job. So I'm pumped at this point. I'm excited. I got one more day of this job I was doing in North Carolina, and then I have to be back. So I called the guy, the boss that sent me to North Carolina. Hey, I got to leave a day early. Sorry. I got to do it. I'm out of here. Yeah, okay. So I drive home. I'm driving home. I'm ready to go, and I get a phone call on the way home. it's the principal that calls me. I'm like, hey, how's it going, you know? Like, she's already verbally told me I have the job. I've quit my other job, and I've cut it off a day early to come home to be prepared to start Monday morning. And she calls me up and she goes, so, the county called me up and said I was required to interview more than one person. So I interviewed somebody else, and they seem better qualified. So, on the phone call, on my ride home, back from North Carolina, she basically told me I no longer had the job. And so at that point, I'm like, that one was tough. It hurt a lot, but it definitely wasn't as personal as the first one. But I wasn't in the club. You know, I wasn't in the club. It wasn't somewhere that seemed like anybody wanted me. All the doors were, if they were open 6 inches or they got shut. Again, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't wide open. I could go find 15 construction crews and 15 remodeling companies that want me. I'm in the club in that aspect. So we keep going. I drive home. It sucks. My mom said I cried, but I don't believe her. Because of course, you know, I called her. Mama's boy and a good counselor. First phone call I make. So I get home and I start working construction. I go back to it. It's kind of just I always had it. And so I keep going, and I get another opportunity. That same summer, third hit, bang, bang, bang. They were all quick. So the school calls me up and says, hey, come interview. So I come interview. So anyway, they want me to take a test, they want me to work part-time, and they want to pay me $13,000 a year. So I, without hesitation, without anything, I said, you can't do better than $13,000 a year? He said, no. I said, all right, then. It wasn't even a thought. I didn't struggle with it. It wasn't my ego or my necessity for survival. I'm not going to take that. I'm just not going to do it. So I didn't do that one either. So at that point, that summer, I turned it and I said, I'm just going to focus. I'm going to put it all in, I'm going to just do construction. I keep trying to go this way, and everything in my life is pushing me this way. You know, and it's not because of fear, it's not because of whatever. It's random, it's me causing it, and it's God causing it. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't cause a lot of this stuff. But I did, but everything's pushing me the other way. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go the other way. Let's do it. I just said, I'm going to commit to construction. And so I did it, and it was the most successful. I started off on my own. It was the most money I made by myself. It was awesome. It felt good to just make a decision, right? And just say, I'm going to do it, whatever happens, happens. So I did it, and then by Christmas time, I'm like, I've been working for myself off and on for the whole time, you know? So I've been doing it for a while. So by Christmas time, I decided I wanted to work for a company. I didn't necessarily want to work for a big company. I didn't have like expectations of what company. I didn't want to get lost. I wanted to work for a company, and I wanted to help a company succeed. I make that decision. A week later, a guy I know calls me up, hey, I'm starting a cabinet company. I want you to come run my shop. I'm going to pay you a ton of money. I said, yep. Yep. I made more money then than I do now. I mean, it was a lot of money. It was nice. And then we ended up crushing it for about 6-7 months. And then the faucet went off. So I'm still in construction. I'm not giving up. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to find another shop. Now I got this cabinet shop thing. I'm going to find another shop that needs a guy to be their first mate. You know? So I go in. Another guy. He was cool. He was whatever. But we weren't on the same page as our vibes weren't the same. He ran the shop. I would call it just goofy. Interesting is what I would call it. Where I would get told to deliver and install something at like 5:30 on a Friday. No heads up or nothing. And so I'd be out till like 9 or 10. And just because he couldn't make a phone call on Wednesday. So that didn't work for me very quickly. So I worked for him for a couple months, and I had no problems quitting. on the spot, and I know at a certain point I just made a decision, this ain't gonna work, so why am I here anymore? Which instantly led to where I'm at now. Started off doing warranty, and I just got promoted to builder, so I'm literally building houses. And I sit down sometimes, and I look, and I'm like, they let me build houses? Because I'm thinking, man, it happened long, it's a long journey. I mean, this journey starts 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a long journey, but it's been quick since I quit trying to go the one way. You know what I'm saying? It was a long journey, it was a tough journey, it was a hard journey when I'm trying to go a way that, looking back on it now, at least for this portion of my life, I wasn't supposed to be going. I give in and I say, I'm just going to commit. I'm going to go the way that apparently God wants me to go, that I've obviously chosen. So I'm going to just commit to it, and then boom, boom, boom. We're talking 2 years. 2 years, boom, boom, boom. And I'm not done yet. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to be a first mate one day. Somebody's going to love having me as their number one. So, I guess, kind of, and that's obviously where I stand right now. More to come, to be continued if you're interested. So I guess the story is, I was never, energetically, I guess I was never a part of the club for the teaching. Energetically, I was completely 1,000%, no questions asked, part of the club for construction. And it's funny, I'm writing all this stuff, and I'm thinking, as I'm writing it, it's funny, like, you get into a place where you belong, and you're accepted, and you're supposed to be there, and you go to some other place that doesn't want you. You know what I'm saying? And you long to be in the place that doesn't want you. When you turn around and you've been in the place that you're supposed to be in and that wants you forever. And it was cool as I was writing this to even think about that. And it's like, the other day I was doing, part of my job is it's only one small part. I have to go in the houses, and it's quality. I got to watch the quality throughout the build process, and I put tape on the wall. If any of you guys are familiar with new construction, it's kind of an industry-wide thing. I go and I put tape on the wall, like, hey, drywall's screwed up here, so the painters and drywall guys and trim guys can come and fix it. And one of the drywall guys goes, man, what's up with you? I'm like, I don't know, what do you mean? He's like, I can always tell when it's your house, because there's so much tape on the wall. So my first reaction is do a better job. But my second reaction is, dude, I've been living for the past 15 years with my face 6 inches away from these walls. Of course mine are going to have more tape on it. This is what I've been doing. This has been me forever, whether I knew it or not. I'll close it with this. The other day, we were sitting, just chilling after work, and Amber's on Facebook going down the rabbit hole with all the videos. I think she was maybe 15, 20 deep. And, I hear The Rock come on. And The Rock, you know his voice, you know The Rock, the wrestler, actor. And he starts telling a story, and he's like, man, I played football at college, and I was pumped, I'm ready. My dream is to play NFL. My first game was up in Canada. Our first team went to the Canadian Football League first. And he's like, I played my first game, and then 2 days later they cut me. And he said, you're not supposed to cut me. I'm playing in the NFL. Like, that's what I'm going to do. That's my dream. And then at the end he goes, the best thing that ever happened to me was the thing that never happened to me. He said, that being cut and not making the NFL was the best thing that ever happened in my life, because now look at what he is, you know? So I'll leave you with that. Me and The Rock share that common thread. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Did Did you see yourself in any of it?
Yeah.
Did you? I hope that in the future, when you're feeling yourself a part of the club and wanted, that you take a moment to appreciate that. Do you think that would be good?
Yes.
Well, let's just take a quick minute to center it in. So if you'll just shut your eyes and see a beautiful column of light just coming over you, and just feel the love in that column. And just for this one moment, I want you to imagine you look at your feet and just see the path that you are on. And in this moment, take a breath and begin to realize the path you are on serves you. And feel your heart open to hear what those next steps should be. Where I stand is perfect. I now open to hear the guidance from my heart and God to direct the next steps on this journey. Feel your heart opening, and God, we love you so much. We thank you for each of our opportunities to grow, to love, and to become all that we are.